And I think it's difficult because a lot of people have a lot of expectations when it comes to their retirement. And like you said, because it's a new beginning, so it's very exciting. But at the same time, because it's not talked about so much, like you said, they don't really have the tools, they don't know where to start. So it's great that you started your company. I'm sure it helps a lot of people, and we're going to talk about your company more in depth for sure. But before, I just wanted to ask you quickly, what is healthy retirement to you? I majored in global public health, and I remember having this assignment in my studies where it was quite simple. I just had to write an essay about what is health, and it was actually quite hard to write because health is so many things. So that's why I'm asking you this question. For you, what is a healthy retirement?
So thank you for that question, Nina. And that's such a great question. And it's kind of funny. I'll tell you a little funny story about myself. I felt I was healthy, right? And I thought that I did all the right things. I exercised, I ate pretty well, I tried to sleep. But what I found over time is that my lifestyle compounded. So, working in a corporation. And so I really suffered. If you really examine what happened to me, I had a lot of stress, both personally as well as in my companies that I worked for over time. And so my way of living became my new normal, except I wasn't even aware that I was so depleted everywhere. So I think of health as a holistic mind, body, and soul. So I think of it very roundly. And of course, everybody's definition for themselves is different. So we have to honor that as well as how people think of it. But I like to present that perspective to people so that they can learn to become balanced and aligned and to do what they want to do in their life, right? So to me, there's foundational pillars. And what's so exciting, let me back up a little bit and say what's so exciting in the marketplace right now, and this is like perfect time, perfect type of company, right, is that we have a convergence of science and of technology and of the thinking of what is it we can do now? What is it that we can apply to make an impact for us in terms of thinking about longevity, right? So there are foundational pillars that really mesh together. And as we move these foundational pillars, everything sort of slowly starts to change. And that's the transformation that the executives go forward. So my definition of really health, and I guess it's, is to live absolutely 150% out, right? To live at peak performance, and also to make sure that all our systems are in integrity and aligned for many, many years. And there's so much we can do right now to support the long range game, the current, near term, and then the long range game. So I love living now. It's very exciting to implement a lot of the science and the technology, and then also to think about it's a constant moving field, right? It's a constant moving field. So to be able to have goals, but then the goal lines keep moving down the playing field, right? So it's constantly, you feel like you're in a movement of curiosity and exploration with your studies that you can implement on yourself and your family and your friends. So yes, I think of health as very much a broad spectrum of how we look at this.
Okay, yeah, that's very interesting, and I think it's nice how you mentioned that your definition of health changed. Or I don't know if your definition of health changed, but at least you recognize that maybe in the past you were suffering from stress, even though you didn't really realize it at that moment. And because now you work with executives, as you said, and plan their retirement, and I think it's a very common situation that during their work life, people are under a lot of stress or experience burnout, and but they normalize it by saying, okay, you know, this is work, work equals stress, and then when I retire, I won't be stressed anymore, and I will do all those things I don't take the time to do right now. What do you think about that? Because I think that adds a lot of pressure to retirement, you know, saying, okay, right now I'm just working, and then when I retired, I will do all those things that I want to do right now, but I cannot do because I have to work.
Right. So let's unpack that because there's a lot of components there. So I love this question. It's a super question. So I think we're living in a very special time, and we have a lot of opportunities right now. Right. So we have the COVID situation, we have the pandemic situation, and from a corporate point of view, or an entrepreneurial point of view, or a professional working situation, we are experiencing many of the younger employees, right, have a different relationship with their employer. And similarly, the same trend is happening with the more senior management also saying, these young kids, they may have an idea. I'm not so sure I want to live like this. But then what's happening, and we're seeing this in the marketplace right now, is we're seeing, oh man, the corporations are actually running out of people. They don't have enough people to work for them. So then what's happening? It's cause and effect, right? So now the companies are saying, wow, we got to retool. We got to retool at the more, junior career level situation. And then also for our senior management or professional individuals. So constantly retooling from the company side. And there is appetite for the employees to learn these new tools. And there is also quite a revenue share, right? The ownership, right, from the employees to the employer. So, yes. So I think that we're seeing a cultural shift. We're seeing a market shift. We're seeing a solution to a global public health situation, what you had talked about in COVID and pandemic. How do we operate? And we're accelerating time, right? We've talked about many of the technology companies are, blasting through the doors. Normally, their products would take years and years of product development. Or look at the drug development companies. Look what they did in a crisis. Extraordinary. It would take 20, 25 years of trials and errors. We were, gunning forward as quickly as possible to solve a problem. And that's the beauty of being human, right? Humans are such amazing people. They're innovative, they're creative, they are solution minded. So it's taking all these external drivers through and then interchanging that on the individual side and taking all the strengths of the individuals and capitalizing that on the employer side. So I think again, it's an incredible time to be living and watching the speed at which this is happening, right? I don't ever remember in my lifetime the speed, the acceleration of change and resilience. And that's extraordinary from all sides, from company, employee, regular humans. So everybody's special, everyone's unique, and they all have their own stories, and that's also what's so interesting, and how people approach problems, how they create ideas, and how they respond, right, to stressors and make it into something that's a viable product or a viable solution for themselves in terms of handling this type of stress, right?
Yeah, actually, when you were talking about, moving fast and those cultural shifts, it made me think about the younger generation and a lot of goals that younger individuals have. And for example, I see on social media now a lot of posts such as how to retire at 30, or those kind of posts. And I do feel like it's now more and more common to also start your own company and be your own boss and retire early. So those are changes that I have also observed, and I think it's quite interesting now want to retire as early as possible, because it's really, I think, like I was talking about earlier, that idea that as long when you're working, you know, you have to focus so much on work, and then when you retire, you have all this time to do those side projects.